Life is full of questions, isn't it? Questions like, what in the world is this? Did an evergreen tree and a snake have a baby? I have no idea what that thing is. Another question is, what's going on inside this house? I have no idea, but I tell you what, I am not knocking on that door for anything. Another question is, what's wrong with this goose? That goose may have been goosed one too many times, if you know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm saying, so how can you know what I'm saying? And finally, what is this? Is it a lion? Is it a dog? I have no idea. Like, I seriously don't know. If I did, I wouldn't be asking you. Are you a person that likes to ask questions? My parents always said that the first word to come out of my mouth was the word why. Yep. Because even when I was a kid, I wanted to know how everything worked. I wanted to know why things were the way that they were. And in all my years of being alive, that still hasn't actually changed. I still ask just as many questions, but sometimes I think I know even less now than I did know back then. Sometimes I think that I probably ask as many questions as King David did back in his day. You see, when you read through the Psalms, you see that King David asked all kinds of questions. For example, look at Psalm 13. In Psalm 13, David writes, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts, and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me?" Okay, that's a lot of questions. It's question mark after question mark after question mark, and it sounds also like David probably isn't having the best of days. Could we agree about that? Is it just me, or do you find that when you aren't having the best of days, you've got a lot of extra questions that you may not have on a normal day? I mean, someone who may not normally be full of questions becomes full of questions whenever things turn south. And I think when that happens, our questions are very similar to the questions that David is asking in this particular psalm. Yeah, because when life seems to be just one bad moment after another bad moment, when life hits you like a ton of bricks out of nowhere, when life seems like you just cannot catch a break, don't you ask the question, how long? I mean, isn't that something that you ask? How long do I have to endure this? How long is it going to be like this? How long until things finally get changed and actually get a little bit easier? How long, God? Seriously. I don't know about you, but I also find that when life hits me with some punches, there's another question that I tend to ask. I tend to ask the question, why, a lot. I find that that question is kind of synonymous with David's question of how long. I feel like you could easily substitute that word into David's questions and still have the same meaning. Why, Lord, will you forget me forever? Why do you hide your face from me? Why must I wrestle with my thoughts day after day and have sorrow in my heart? Why is my enemy triumphing over me? Don't you sometimes find yourself asking the question, why? I mean, I know I do. I do all the time, but I'm weird because I ask the question why about everything, not just like spiritual stuff. I mean, I want to know, why is tuna sometimes called tuna fish, but chicken is never called chicken bird? I want to know, if God sneezes, what should you say? Why do people say slept like a baby when babies wake up every few hours? If a bunch of cats jump on top of each other, is it still called a dog pile? And why? Why doesn't the fattest man in the world become a hockey goalie? I think that's a very good question. I have so many questions. Just always full of questions. And maybe you never ask the question why, like me. I'm guessing you probably do, though. Questions like, why do I have to endure this? Why is there so much evil? Why is there so much hurt? Why is there so much pain? Why is this happening? Why did you allow it to happen? Why, God? I find myself asking why a lot. I mean, wouldn't you like God to come down occasionally during some of those most difficult moments and explain exactly why? I mean, don't you think that if God came down and explained why, it could make those moments much more bearable? I mean, don't you feel that way? If he would just tell us why sickness, why death, why pain, why cancer, why this hurt, why my children. I mean, if he would just tell us why, I feel like sometimes I could be okay with it. And I know that we can occasionally convince ourselves that that is true, that if we knew why, then it would be so much easier. But it really isn't. You know, if God came down here right now and explained this painful moment, it wouldn't make this moment any less painful, would it? If God specifically told you why a loved one died, the hurt of losing them, well, that wouldn't be any less. If he told you why someone was battling cancer, well, that wouldn't make their struggle any easier. If he told you why this thing happened to a child, it wouldn't put the broken pieces of your heart back together. I'm staying too long in that question why. Sometimes it really feels like it can be quicksand because it takes over your thoughts. It consumes you. It blinds you to everything else that is going on around you. And the reason that this is because there are no real answers to the question why. At least no real answers that will bring comfort and peace. And isn't that what we're looking for when we ask the question why? Aren't we looking for peace in a life that has been turned upside down? That's really what we want. Let me tell you a story. A few years back, I took Mom to the store, and it was somebody's birthday, so she bought a birdhouse and a hook to hang that up with as a gift. And then the next day, she comes to me with a very upset look on her face, and she says, I have a problem. The lady at Walmart, she didn't charge me for the hook when I bought the birdhouse. And I thought, doesn't sound like a problem. Sounds like you got a free hook. And Mom said, what do you think I should do about it? Do you think I can go back and tell them what happened and then pay for it? And I said, I don't know, Mom. When I worked at Home Depot, if something like that happened, they just wrote it off. And if you came back in to tell them that somebody forgot to ring you up for it a couple days ago, they would just tell you not to worry about it. It was their mistake. Mom said, the lady that checked me out, she was a sweet old lady, and I don't want to get her in trouble. Do you think she would get in trouble if I told them that she forgot to charge me for this? I said, I don't know, Mom. I honestly don't know. And she said, what do you think we should do? And I could tell that Mom was upset, feeling like she stole this hook, and that somehow I had to come up with a plan to make it right. And I said, the only thing I can think of is to go back to Walmart, buy the hook again, and then walk it back and put it on their shelf. That way you'll have paid for it, and their inventory numbers will still be right. So the next day, we head into Walmart, and we put Operation Clear Conscience into place. Here's the thing, though. Even though we were doing the right thing, it still felt like we were doing something illegal. I mean, it's one thing to sneak something out of Walmart, but did you know that it feels the exact same way to sneak something into Walmart to put it back on their shelves? Of course you didn't realize that. Why? Because nobody does that. I mean, seriously, who does that? It is the total opposite of stealing, but at the same time, it is just as nerve-wracking. I can promise you that. I mean, if they catch me, what do I tell them? How do I even begin to explain that I'm sneaking items into the store and I'm not doing anything nefarious? So we go to Walmart, and I walk the whole way back to where the hooks are at, which happens to be in the outside garden department, all the way down at the end of a dead-end aisle. And when I get there, would you believe that there is a Walmart employee with a cart of barbecue grills literally standing in front of the hooks? And I thought, oh no, they're onto us. But I realized that was a crazy thought. And I said, excuse me. And he moved his cart out of the way so that I could grab a hook. And I walked to the cash register, and I pretended to be just a normal customer. Nice weather outside today, isn't it? I'm just a normal shopper. Yeah, so I did one of those. I paid, and then I walked out of Walmart, and then I walked right back in the store, carrying my hook in the bag to the garden section. Well, when I got back to the aisle, that Walmart employee was still there, of course. But now he's at the front of the aisle, just sitting on some boxes looking at his phone, and I thought, okay, they really are onto me now. I mean, this guy's trying to look all inconspicuous, but I can see right through him. Yeah, you're looking at your phone. You're not fooling anybody, buddy. And I almost called the mission off right there, but I was too far in to abandon. So I take my bag that has my hook in it, and I reach in the bag, I pull out the hook, and then I put it on the shelf the whole time with this guy watching me, and then I roll up the bag and put it in my pocket. And as I walk past him to leave, his brow becomes furrowed, and I can see this quizzical look come over his face that says, what in the world is this guy doing? Yeah. And I thought, buddy, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. I'm pleased to announce that Operation Clear Conscience was a complete and total success, and Mom was able to sleep that night, knowing that we had made things right. We had purchased a $5 item, we had saved an old lady's job, we had fixed Walmart's inventory, and we had cleared Mom's conscience. You know, the reason that this situation improved, that we were able to fix this dilemma that she was having, was because she didn't get stuck on the question, why? Why did this happen? If she started wondering why, she might still be wondering it to this day, and we would still have a stolen hook in our possession. She didn't ask the question why. Instead, she asked the question, what now? What now? What do I do now that I have stolen this? And I know that this is a kind of humorous example, but it really does speak the truth. We all want answers to the question why. But what is the most benefit that question could ever give? The question why, it can't take away pain, and it doesn't change the past, and it can't offer direction. I mean, look at this clip here for a second for me. Oh, wow, that looks extraordinarily painful. Now, if we understood, or not us, but that person understood the reason that it took place, do you think it would decrease their pain at all? Let's try it. Let's watch the clip again and see if any of these answers make you feel like that pain would lessen because you know the answer to the question why, okay? All right. It slipped out of her hand. She sneezed accidentally and let it go. She got stung by a bee and dropped it at the wrong time. Somebody yelled her name and she got distracted. Okay, so tell me, do you think that any of those reasons, I mean, did you feel like any of those would make it hurt any less? No, they wouldn't. And you see, that's the thing about the question why. The question why doesn't really offer anything. And it especially doesn't help with the pain. Pain doesn't go away because you know the answer to the question why. And there's no greater example of this than Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He knew that that evening he was going to be arrested, betrayed by his friends, beaten, and then murdered. But he also knew why this was happening. He knew that after death, God would raise him from the dead to show that his sacrifice was able to save all believers, that it was accepted. Listen to Matthew 20, 17 through 19. As Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside and said, "Look, we're going to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and scribes. They will condemn him to death and will deliver him over the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified, and on the third day he will be raised to life." So Jesus knows all about this day. He knows that this is going to be the most important day in the history of mankind. And he knew that there would be pain, but at the same time, this was the greatest why there ever had been. This why, the why to this pain was to save the souls of believers, past, present, and future. Jesus knew the why. He knew the answer. But did it make the pain any less? Look at Mark 14:32 through 34, and listen to see if you think it lessened the pain. Then they came to the place called Gethsemane, and Jesus told his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took with him Peter, James, and John, and began to be deeply troubled and distressed. He then said to them, "My soul is consumed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch." My soul is consumed with sorrow to the point of death. Does that sound like the pain went away with the answer to the question why? Luke says, "An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground." You see, Jesus knew the precise answer to the question why. But the answer, it didn't make it any easier. It doesn't make the pain any less. And if Jesus had gotten stuck on the question why, he never would have moved forwards. But Jesus instead asked, "What now?" And because he asked that question, he was able to make the most important sacrifice ever made for mankind. Folks, why is quicksand? It will keep you trapped for all eternity. The question that helps one heal and begin to be able to move forward, well, that's the question, what now? You can ask why someone is sick and be stuck. Or you can ask what now and find a way to help them. You can ask why someone died. Or you can ask, what now do I do to honor their memory? You can ask why you lost your job. Or you can ask, what now can I do to better my situation? You can ask, what now, in light of this pain, can I do to glorify God, even in the midst of this impossible moment? That's what Jesus was saying in the garden after he prayed and then said, "Not my will, but yours be done." He was saying, "What now, Father?" You see, why keeps you motionless, waiting for an answer? What now? It helps you move forwards with the Lord. You know, in the beginning of our scripture, our author is definitely asking why. "Look on me and answer, Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. And my enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall." But listen to what comes next. "But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me." When he changes to what now, that gives the opportunity for hope to begin to creep in. Folks, I don't know what it is that you're facing. I don't know what pain you are up against. I don't know what hurt there has been in your life that has had you continuing to ask the question, why? I don't know what it is, but I know that it is. I know that you're hurting, and I know that there's pain, and that's okay. All I'm asking you to do is, in light of this pain, to ask God, what now? What now, Father? Because that's the only question that has the potential to help you move forwards and start to heal. Why? It's a trap. What now? That's the way out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. God bless. Hope to see you soon.